Have you ever heard the saying, April showers bring May flowers? Today I'm going to show you a fun way to do some flower collages using a variety of paper. You can see I've got some options laid out on the table here. This is some colored cardstock, construction paper, just white paper, notebook paper. I'm going to show you how to do some coloring and painting techniques. You could even use just old newspaper. You could paint watercolors on top of your newspaper. I've also used some old birthday bags and tissue paper, scrapbooking paper, wrapping paper, pretty much anything would work for a little collage like this. So I want to go ahead, first I just want to show you how to do some painted paper to get some interesting little textures on here. So I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. So I'm going to start with just a white sheet of paper here, and I've got some crayons, and nothing special about these, just old crayons. And I'm going to think about lines and patterns and shapes and just put a little variety on my paper. Really, with this project, the more variety you have, the more fun it turns out to be. Look, I've even got white right here. I'm drawing some stars. I know you can't see those right now, but you just wait. We're gonna see some magic happen in just a second. All right, you could think about shapes. All right, you can just really have a lot of fun with this, okay? Now right here, I've just got an old set of watercolors, nothing too fancy. Even old broken crayons, an old paint still does the trick. All right, so now I'm gonna just take my watercolor. I have to get it wet first and load up my brush, and I'm gonna just paint right on top of what I did with the crayon. And you can see that the wax kind of repels the watercolors away and it shines right through. I could change colors if I want to. Maybe I'll try out some red next. And you want to make it look like a little swimming pool in there so you have enough water and enough color on your brush. You should be able to see it. All right, let's try the stars. Ooh la la. How fun is that? All right, and then you could just keep doing the whole paper in whatever colors you like until you have a nice little variety here. I'm gonna do just this one last section. Ta-da! Isn't that fun? I love doing a little wax resist every now and then. It's kind of like magic. Okay, so you can let that dry, or you can use your papers that are already ready to go, and then you can actually start making your collage. So here's one that I started earlier, and I just want to show you how to cut out the shapes and layer them on top of each other. So here's a little painted paper just like the one I just showed you. For this one, I think I'm going to cut out a big flower shape. Now, if I just sat here and tried to cut directly into it and make a flower, it probably would be really crooked. So what I'm going to do is take my marker and I'm going to draw a flower directly on here. I'm going to start with a little dot, and I'm going to make kind of like an upside down teardrop, and I'm going to connect it back to that dot. I'll start there again, follow along the line, but then I'll circle around and come back to my dot again. I'm going to do this a few more times. And you know, it's okay if yours is bigger or smaller on one side, or if it's a little bit crooked, because this is nature and organic things, and that's just kind of how it works out sometimes. Flowers are not always perfect, just like people are not always perfect. All right, now I'm just cutting along my lines, and I want you to notice something. I'm not cutting all the way to that dot. I'm just cutting the outside edge. See this? Because I want it to be all together. It makes it a little easier to glue down. And I'm cutting quickly, so I'm not even staying on those lines very good, am I? All right, is that a perfect circle? I mean, a perfect flower? No, but that's still gonna work for what we need. The circles that I did earlier, I just freehanded those where I took the paper and I just cut into it into a circle. Older kids are probably able to do that. Younger kids are not. So what I would recommend you do for the littler ones is to have something that you can trace around. Like there's a little medicine cup. I'll just trace around it. Sometimes you can work with a friend. Have your friend hold the cup down and you trace with a marker. And that way you get more like a perfect circle. But honestly, I like them when they're a little bit crooked. I think that adds a little bit of character. All right, so there's another option we can do there. To actually get it on your paper, you just need some kind of glue. I'm gonna be using a little glue stick. Make sure you put the glue on the back side when you get ready to stick it down. I like to go around the edges, and you can play around with the placement of this a little bit. Ooh, I think I'm gonna layer it. Yeah, right there on top of some of those other ones. That's fun. All right, here's a little piece I cut out earlier. I'm gonna put the marker side down on this one. Now with that tissue paper, one thing I want to show you, here's one I cut out of tissue paper earlier. Now it was a little hard to cut. Little kids probably couldn't do it, but big kids could. It looks see-through. You see how it's transparent there? But what the younger kids could do is you could just tear a little piece of tissue paper and crumble it up and let that be your center. It's kind of a fun way to do it. Adds a little bit of texture there. All right, I thought I'd go ahead and throw in this other circle one so that way you can see what it looks like all finished. And see how I'm just layering these on top of each other? I'm not putting them in a perfect row or anything like that, because when you have a garden, sometimes those flowers grow in front of each other, and this makes a really fun garden.